Okay, so at this point, you should probably have a pretty good understanding of exposure and how it affects your images and how you can affect it in making the choices that you make with your settings. So why don't we have a little bit of fun with it, and let's look at some more advanced aperture techniques, things that you can do with your aperture just to be a little bit more creative, try some new things. So the first one that we're going to talk about is called bokeh shapes or bokeh shapes. There's an example below so you can see what this looks like, but sometimes you'll see images where the background has maybe stars or hearts or birds or something within those shapes that are made from the background light with a wide aperture, and shallow depth of field. So you can make custom bokeh shapes by just putting little shapes in front of your lens, creating this little mask, if you will, putting it on your lens. And then when you take the picture with the wide aperture, instead of those circles that you get from the blades of the aperture, you're going to get the shape that you cut out. So you can have a lot of fun with this. I would be really cool to see some people try this out and share their photos with the class. Another one is the bokeh panorama. It's also known as the Bernizer method because Ryan Bernizer was a photographer who really kind of popularized it, like in the early, like the 2000s, like 2007, 8, 9, 10, sometime around then, it really kind of came into view. The Bernizer method or the bokeh panorama is when you take multiple shots with a shallow depth of field, and then you actually stitch them and overlap them so that your subject is nice and sharp, and then you have this incredibly large shallow depth of field in your background and foreground. So you're going to see a couple examples below. Try to see if you can figure out how that's different than just having a nice wide image with a shallow depth of field. See if you can work that out on your own. If you can't, come in and talk to us about it in the Discord server, and we're happy to show the difference. But I want to see if it fits for you guys on your own first. Another one is focus stacking. So focus stacking, you see a lot of this in macro photography. So you're trying to get a lot of stuff in focus throughout the entire frame. And the way you do this is usually you should have your camera like on a tripod or on something stable. Same with the Ryan Bernizer method above, because you don't want to move it too much. In focus stacking, you don't want to move it at all. And you're just changing your focus point and taking multiple images of the same scene with different focus points. And then you're combining them and blending them so that you get everything in focus. So macro shots use this a lot because when you use a macro lens, you can only focus on small bits close up at a time. So like if you're shooting a picture of a fly, for example, with a macro lens, you're focusing on the eyes of the fly. The rest of the fly is going to be blurred out. So then you take another photo where you focus on the body of the fly and the wings of the fly and the back of the fly. And you take all these pictures, you layer them, and then you actually blend them together to create a nice in-focus fly. So focus stacking is incredibly useful. It's not just even a creative tool necessarily. It's actually just a technical way to make sure you get everything that you need in focus. So definitely worth trying that out as well. All right, we're going to look at some advanced shutter speed techniques next, and then will be your assignment for this week.